Hello, my wonderful, amazing artists. It's me, Miss Abby, your art teacher, and today we are using our imagination to transform the first letter of our name into something completely different and outrageous. Here are two examples I did. The first one I used all markers, and I transformed it in my letter A of my first name into a robot. And then the second one, like an alphabet, I thought that was pretty cool. The second one, I transformed the first letter of my name into a rocket ship. And I used a little bit of paper and glue to cut out the first letter of my name. Now, I'm going to do something completely different next on the back. So, the first step of this project is to think about the first letter of your name. My name's Abby, so it begins with an A, but everyone's going to have, a lot of people in class are going to have different starting points, different letters. If your name is Josiah, you're starting with the letter J. If your name is Katrina, you're starting with the letter K. My name is Abby, so I'm starting with A. We're all starting with different beginnings. And that's going to mean that all of our projects are unique and interesting, and that's part of the fun. You can also choose based on what is available to you in your class or your home or wherever you're working. If you want to use all drawing tools like this one, or if you want to use a little bit of collage and cutting and gluing like this one. So let's get started. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can start with your first letter of your name. One way is to draw it out, starting with a pencil. You can draw it super big with a pencil, and then go over it maybe with a thick tool, like this thick crayon, to give yourself a nice big line. Because today we're going really, really big with what we're drawing. So you can do something like that. Or, depending on your letter, you can cut up some scraps of paper into, some rectangles or squares or curves and create your name that way. And of course you're going to glue this down with a glue stick. Or you can cut the whole thing with one big piece of paper using a scrap paper. And I'm going to start by drawing a big letter A. Boom. And I'm going to make it even wider. This is how, if you like making block letters or bubble letters, you can do that. Just by making the lines wider. Now I'm going to cut it out in one piece. Ready? Cutting it out and using scraps to recycle. And the big shape is a letter A. The big shape of my letter A is a triangle. Put that to the side. And I have this section here that I'm going to cut out. I'm going slow. I'm looking closely at what I'm working on. So my letter, the letter A, has this window here. This section that I'm not quite sure how to cut out. You can either leave this empty and maybe make it a window in whatever you're creating. Or if you want to try something a little more challenging, you can fold it in half and cut a snip into that white part. That gives you an entry point to cut out the sections. And you have to work carefully. I'm working nice and slow. I'm cutting out little pieces at a time. And I'm not trying not to point the scissor towards my finger. Ta-da, that's a good idea, especially if you have like a letter O or letter P or R in your name. Ta-da! Now is the fun part where we're using our imaginations. I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to use my imagination and think about what these letters look like, what they remind me of, what I can transform them into. A monster, a building, a object, an animal, an abstract shape, anything you can think of. Let's use our imaginations. Everyone's is going to be different, and that is part of the fun. I think I'm going to make this one a building and this one a monster. Let's go. Ta-da! Here is my two different interpretations of the letter transformation challenge, where I took the first letter of my name and transformed it. For this interpretation, I created a monster with big pointy teeth and one eye and horns. For this one, I transformed the first letter of my name into a cabin with a spiral staircase that maybe we would like rent for vacation or something like that. And it's starry out. The bedroom is on top with a big window. And I was inspired by what is called like an A-frame cabin, which I've been kind of interested in lately. I would love to like stay in one for a night to see what it's like. But there are lots of different directions you can take this, and part of the fun with this project will be showing your classmates what you came up with to see what they did. I'm very curious if classmates have the same letter, if they'll transform their letter into the same thing, or people will take them in different directions. It'll be really fun and interesting to use our imaginations to transform the first letter in our names into something awesome. Bye, have fun making art.